knowledge, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Rolled up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Anything earned for a goal of innovation, just passing the team over here might finish out bright future we can't vanish. It's E2's finally day that sell us. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions, fankers, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. It's been a while. It has been a while. I won't lie. The international break has been a well-deserved break for the channel, especially Dan, who's been flying all over the gaff. But yeah, we're back for a Bournemouth preview. JC, how's it going?
I'm good. I've had a good day at work. I'll say that. A very nice day at work.
Oh.
But yeah.
Be right back. Pizza's arrived. Be right back.
Ooh, pizza.
Nice.
Not for me, for the girls.
So for the people that don't know, which no one knows apart from anyone in the group chat, the FA Cup and the Community Shield both ended up at the place that I work. That's all I'll say. Which is very nice. Yeah. Dan, how are you?
I'm good. I'm not going to lie. I was very jealous of those pictures you managed to get. But yeah, I'm good. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. The international break, I'm sure we'll all agree. So it can drag a little bit, can't it? And then you get some mad stories coming out and all of this kind of stuff. And yeah, I just want to be back at football tomorrow. But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, crazy stories like people making their top 10 overrated 11s and Palace players beefing ex-Palace players, apparently. But, John, how's it going? How are you?
Yeah, doing well, thanks. I'm also looking forward to the game, obviously. Also just looking forward to having the weekend just coming back around. But it's been a really good season. It's going to be... I don't know. Can you call it a derby if over anything with the two most highly rated managers in the league? Is that doesn't become a derby, does it? But
highly rated manager derby. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. You can make a derby of anything these days.
What El Managerio or something?
that was good, JC. Well done.
Yeah.
I'm back. Are you going to be at the game?
I'm not, unfortunately. No. But I will be keeping across it in any way that I can.
Mm-hmm. So let's just go straight into it. How do you think this game is going to go? Do you think?
Well, I mean, last season they were both 0-0s, weren't they? It is kind of a case that I feel like it doesn't surprise me with the 0-0s, given how Palace are now, functioning really well under Glasner after their slow start. Bournemouth obviously getting more and more used to how Iraola wants to be playing, and both of our teams really want to play on the counter. They're not really all that fussed with having the ball, as long as you win it back and then you just burst forward and grab whatever chances that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
And that just makes it really difficult to create for both teams. I do think that the one sort of like X factor that you think could change a game, obviously for Bournemouth is Semenyo, and then for Palace that would have been Eze, obviously, not to put any salt on the wound or anything, but Sarr I really highly rate, but I'm not sure how much any of your players, I mean, Pino, I've seen very little of, but out of your attackers, I'm not sure who's going to be able to be the player that just creates something out of nowhere. I mean, Wharton is absolutely capable of threading through a pass and creating a really cutting assist. But, both teams are going to set up to make sure that, to try and cancel out any kind of counter-attacking opportunities, and we may end up seeing a really 90s game of football with long ball to long ball to long ball to long ball, and the most frustrating 0-0 you've seen in your life. So it could be great, but it could be an absolute snooze fest. So sorry that I'm not selling it all that well.
Just on that, I just caught the back end of that. Funny enough, I don't think we now have that single player that we kind of rely on. I think we've now transitioned more into a team. So it's more of the system as opposed to individuals, which I think actually has made us look better.
Yeah.
It sounds weird. Like, granted, we still got to take our chances. We've missed too many chances this season. Even in games we've won. Way too many chances. I don't know what the first question. Have you spoken about the defense yet?
I literally asked him, "What do you think the game's going to be like?"
Okay, fair enough. Because I do want to touch on the defense because you lost 3 or 4 of them. You're starting 11 from last season. How's that been as a transition for you?
Yeah, so 3 of our 4 first choice defenders and also Kepa's loan from Chelsea was ended. We did, contrary to any clickbaity video will say, we did try and sign Kepa, but his wage asks were just way too big for our structure. He is still the most expensive goalkeeper in the world in one single transfer. So, he was asking for a certain amount of money and we said, we can't pay you that. You'll have to drop it. He refused and he's gone to sit on Arsenal bench. So, all the best to him.
He was demanding money knowing that in the last, 3-4 seasons, all he's done is have loans.
Well, I mean, one of those was to Real Madrid. So, he
didn't play.
He played half the games or something like that. He's still got a level of reputation, but he did play pretty well for us. I mean, there are definitely moments I look back and go, like, for his age and experience and so-called ability, he made some daft decisions. The 2-2 draw away at Tottenham being one of the main ones.
The game in the FA Cup against Man City, that one.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
he
had a rash decision in him still. So obviously lost. Lost Kepa. Lost Howson to Real Madrid, Kirkes to Liverpool, and Zabani to PSG. And I mean, if you line up those, you lost 4 players to Arsenal, Liverpool, PSG, and Real Madrid, and they all came from Bournemouth. Like 3 of the 4 most expensive defensive transfers in the entire summer window came from Bournemouth. So, it showed how strong we were. And how good those players were and how good they were made to look under Iraola's system as well, because Kirkes is being misprofiled at the moment in Liverpool and is getting quite a lot of stick. Zabani's doing a decent job, and Howson's had a decent showing, has got a good reputation, but maybe hasn't really quite been able to show how good he is at Madrid yet. So Iraola was able to get a lot out of his defenders and make his defenders look good as well. And one of the sort of theories that I've had for that recently is Bournemouth's midfield and attack press so aggressively and so hard. They run their socks off the entire game. The defense, I would say, generally has less work to do in a Bournemouth team than in a lot of teams, because they have so much cover and support from their fellow players. So it's what I will say is that the ones we do have, and obviously the ones we sold, were very good defenders, though. In terms of how we've replaced them, Senesi we had at the club anyway. In fact, Senesi was playing before Howson got his chance. Senesi got an ACL injury and was kept out for the whole season, which allowed Howson to come in. And obviously he played brilliantly, and we flipped him for a great profit. But he's been fantastic. He's he's been a staple of running FPL teams if people are playing that. But his long passing, if anything, I'd say is probably better than Howson's. But and he is the sort of he is the playmaker for Bournemouth. Really, we don't really have a midfield passing playmaker. Alex Scott is a great dribbler. Ryan Christie is a dribbler and a passer, but he's not exceptional either, I would say. Adams is a destroyer, and Lewis Cook hasn't really played, and his passing game isn't what it used to be. So Senesi is the one that sort of starts our attacks, mostly with long balls, maybe a little bit too often at times, but he's been doing really, really well. Diakite is we brought in from Lille, centre back, who he's settled in brilliantly. He was a bit shaky in the first game against Liverpool, but better communication has really brought that partnership together. At left back, I'd say we've upgraded. I think Adrien Truffert has looked better than Kirkez, to be honest. I think he doesn't have the same bombing up and down the wing endless energy that Kirkez did, but in terms of a defender, he's better. In terms of his passing, he's better. The one thing I would say is that Kirkez was a very good crosser on the move, which I haven't seen as much of from Truffert, but he does look an upgrade, really. In the first sort of 7 games, he's been fantastic. And at the back, Petrovic has done a solid job. I don't think he's been exceptional. I don't think he's been brilliant by any means, but I don't think I could say I can blame him for any of our goals. And he's made the saves that he should be, which is really what you need. And he's decent with his feet as well. Bournemouth don't pass out from the back very often, but if they do, they've got someone that's very capable of it. When he was at Strasbourg last year, he was right near the top of the charts for passing amongst goalkeepers. So it just, the system, in the same way to Crystal Palace, like the system is incredibly strong. And because Bournemouth, even though they had to bring in 3 new players into the back line area, because the midfielders do so much, because the striker and wingers work their socks off constantly, it allows for the defenders to settle in a little bit more easily. And I think that they're able to help bring these players up to speed quite quickly. So it's I mean, the fact we conceded 4 against Liverpool, but then we got 2 clean sheets in a row following that, and have kept our defense to a pretty strong level. We've conceded 4 goals in the following 6 games, so I've been pretty happy with the defense.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of your expected goals, you've conceded the 3rd least of the whole league.
Yeah. I mean that's
I imagine most of that was in that Liverpool game. So
because what we conceded 5, haven't we? Was it 4?
We've conceded 5, yeah.
5. Cool. So just finally, before we go to some comments, so you mentioned about the strikers and the wingers pressing, and I'm sure that's that. So that I'm assuming that will be Evan Nilsson, Semenyo, Kluivert.
Kluivert would be the 10 if he plays.
Yeah.
So he would be part of the press as well. Right winger would have been Brooks, but he's come back injured from Wales. So it could be Adley, who was another one of our new signings, or it could be Tavernier, pushed to the right hand side, pushed to the wing, or maybe even Gannon Doak might get his first start. But we've got a few options to replace him. But yeah.
So with that, do the centre mids follow the press as well, or is it a case where the front 4 press and the back 6 stay?
No, the whole midfield will sort of push forward with a press. It's kind of the pressing system is kind of like a man-to-man press, but it's sort of like it's a staggered man-to-man press, because they'll sort of funnel the ball into a particular side, and then you'll have one player will be kind of in between a couple of other players. You'll have like 2 or 3 midfielders will be in between other players. So they'll be like, if the ball goes this way, I shift to this man. If the ball goes the other way, I shift to my other man. And basically, the entire team will push into the corner that we've moved the ball into. Thankfully, one of the benefits of the international break was that quite a lot of the Stato and Tactics YouTube channels did decide to pick out Bournemouth for the first time in half a year to actually do a decent video on, and it shows up really nicely the kind of strategy that Iraola is trying to do. The thing is that works against teams that are happy to keep the ball deep and want to build up from the back. And I mean, one of our most difficult games this season, admittedly, I feel we were poor, but our draw against Leeds, we just about grabbed a draw from that, and we were the worst team, and we were quite poor, but Leeds were very physical, and they also don't care about having the ball at the back. If as soon as they get anywhere close to being pressed, ball's just going long, and that really struggle because it's one thing to sort of say we don't mind you trying a hopeful ball long, but the problem is that you had Calvert-Lewin was very effective at holding the ball up, and B, one of the best ways that Bournemouth can create attacks is by winning the ball in the opposition third or opposition half. And if you can't do that at all, that's a really significant chunk of Bournemouth's creativity that's lost. So, it's understandably a tactic that works better against those kinds of sides, which are typically the sides higher in the table. But it's not that it can't work against other types of teams. We beat Nottingham Forest 5-0 at home last season, and they're certainly not a possession team. But it's the area of Iraiola's game that is the one that needs the most improvement in, and it's the kind of thing we're starting to move a little bit towards. We've got a higher than 50% average possession this season. Is that if we're the ones that have to be the ones that to make the game happen, can we get through a team? And right now, I would say the answer is no, except give the ball to Semenyo. And that's basically how we get through teams at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting hearing that because on one end, we do like to build from the back. But on the flip side, we don't dilly-dally with it, I would say. It's trying to get it into Kamada and Wharton and then make them play a quick passing. And if that doesn't work, we'll get into Mateta.
I mean, that's how we scored in the FA Cup final. We saw that playing out from the back didn't work, so we just lifted it long. The rest of history, really.
But I think I was going to say, I think going back to the pressing stuff. I think Iraola is very clever because he seems to because I watched some of the games, some of Bournemouth's games before earlier on in the week, and it seems like he varies it. He varies the press a lot depending on the team he's playing. So, for example, how was that? For example, playing four at the back with say a double pivot is going to be very different to playing say 5 at the back with like we've got. And I think Iraola seems to have drilled Bournemouth very, very well in how they're doing it. So I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to me to see say 3 of Bournemouth's front 3 or whoever it is, three of the forwards to match our centre backs and try and go for us that way, and then push up onto Wharton and Kamada or whoever plays. But I mean, just the way it literally it's as soon as there's one little press trigger, everyone just seems to go. And I think Mateta is going to be very crucial to holding up the ball. And the thing is, if the defenders are aggressive enough that he ain't got it, then we might be in trouble there. But hopefully he can be a good target man that day.
Yeah, and I do think that's going to be one of the big battles, which we're probably going to be looking for Diakite to be the man to try and harass Mateta into not keeping hold of the ball brilliantly. But I mean, one of the it's, as you said, it's the kind of thing that you did in the FA Cup final. The thing that, and it's a tactic that Bournemouth use as well. If you play the ball long, it doesn't matter massively whether your striker wins the ball because you just flood your midfielders around it,
and
you'll get the second one. And if you don't get the second, you get the third. So it's it's the way that Bournemouth like to sort of develop. It's in a similar way to you. It's we'll pass the ball around the back a bit, and we are doing that more this season than we were, but. Bournemouth are not going to concede a goal this season by a centre-back losing the ball. Because if there's any kind of decent press, ball's going somewhere else. It's we're not going to struggle like that. Yeah. It's really not an issue. And the wingers and the striker will just run towards wherever the ball goes. It doesn't have to be the greatest pass at all. But I think in terms of how you said, in terms of the way that I expect that you might see some patterns of how we'll press, because I do think the one thing Bournemouth don't do as well is press against the back 3, because you do always have more options, and particularly if you have, obviously Kamada and Wharton will drop to create plenty of passing opportunities. So what I would expect to probably see is, I mean, out of your two wide centre backs, you've got Gahey and Richards would be your two wide centre backs. I don't know. Iraola will have found that one of them is worse on the ball.
It'll be Richards.
And they'll go, right, okay. What we want to make sure is that Clivert, probably if he starts, it might be Tavernier, stands on Gahey. And then Evan Nilsson will stand pretty much on Lacroix, which means the only pass is to Richards, at which point Clivert goes to Lacroix as Evan Nilsson presses Richards, but curves his run to make sure that the pass is unavailable back to the goalkeeper. Both central midfielders are pushed up to your central midfielders. The left wing back's pushed up to your right to Munoz, and you don't have a short pass. If you try a short pass, we'll hopefully win it. If not, it goes long. Your midfielders have dropped deep, so you're less likely to win the second ball because they're not far forward to support Mateta. So it's that kind of thing to try and restrict as many short pass avenues as possible. And if you hit it long, great, because you're probably not going to get the second ball. So that's
however,
have you seen what Richards has been doing lately? He just pings the ball back over the top, back to Gay again.
And
if he does that, then that's you found the way out of it.
Our system, when we knock it to Mateta, it isn't for the midfielders to be near him. We play with two inside 10s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're the two that will be around him anyway. Like Mateta will always have players around him.
But that's the problem, is that with the back with playing against the back three or back five, you have to be more aggressive because there are more options. Which means you're more vulnerable defensively. That won't stop Iraola from trying it, because by the end of the press, it'll be man to man pretty much. So he always takes that risk, and he trusts that his players will be able to make it as difficult as they can for the opposition. So that if Mateta makes half a poor pass, someone's on it to win it off him. Half a poor touch, as it were, someone's there to win it off him. So it's a very risky game, and the team that figures out how to get past our press regularly are scoring 3 or 4 against us. So it's successful, but I do think there is a breaking point that people will find around it. But right now, obviously, we conceded 4 against Liverpool. That was slightly different in first game. But in terms of the structured press to attack a team that are on the ball and deep, no one's really found a way around it yet. So we'll see what happens as the season goes on.
Let's get through some comments.
The dog, big up the dog. Never scored against Bournemouth under Glasner.
This is crazy, isn't it?
Great to be back. I think, wasn't Bournemouth the first game that Glasner really got undone a little bit, wasn't it? I think he had the bright idea to move Lerma back into midfield and put David Ozo at centre back, and then you scored, and it was a 1-0, I think. And
that was a late winner.
Because we had Eze's goal got disallowed that game as well, didn't it?
Justin Clivert.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm sure it was offside or something, wasn't it?
Can't remember.
Who was it under where we lost 2-0 at home? And
that would have been
was
Roy.
Roy?
It must have been Roy.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I'm looking at the 2-0 at home now. That was 6th of December 2023. So
that was Roy.
Yeah, that would have been Roy. Yeah, manager Roy Hodgson. Yeah. Senesi and Kiefer Moore.
Yeah, that was Kiefer. Weird stat for Bournemouth. Kiefer Moore goal was the last goal that Bournemouth have scored by a 30-year-old or older.
Really? That was
the last goal that Bournemouth have had scored by a 30-year-old, because pretty much our entire squad now is like 26 and under, or like 28 or under, rather. Like Adam Smith is basically the only guy that's over 30 at this point in our squad.
Day says we are back. Mikey says up the Palace. Chairman says big up. Durfez, I think it'll be interesting to see how we bounce back after Everton.
Everton, like every season, just give them 6 points, because like just forget it, like just whatever. That's a free hit. I'd rather play Man City every week than Everton.
I mean, you're not wrong there, to be fair.
No, we got more points against City than we have Everton.
Like I said, you're not wrong. Rio Cardi did all right for TNT. I think it's Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
A good set Taker. Good backup. Listen, he's a good player, man. He nearly scored in against Dynamo. If only that block wasn't made. But yeah, he nearly scored, and we were a man down as well. So I think to have that kind of faith in a youngster, especially for Glasner as well, he don't give out debuts for fun. So he must have been really working hard to get that time on the pitch, and everyone was gassed for him as well, which is nice to see as well. Ed, international break over. Thank F for that. Big up. Mary says, such an interesting matchup. And then one last big up. This game feels more like a game of chess than football for some reason.
I think it's two teams who, like John said, got very good systems, very good managers, very good first 11s as well. Do you know, like it's going to be a good game, and it's going to be a difficult one to call.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. One thing I did like about what Glasner said in his presser is that, and especially to do with JP, is that he knows he's missed too many chances. So I'm hoping tomorrow.
Wow.
He's got all the rust out there.
Let me look at the old stats, shall we? Who do we think is the biggest underperforming player in the league so far?
Jean-Philippe Mateta.
It is Jean-Philippe Mateta.
And who's going to be the most annoying player in the Prem? Adam Wharton, because he's created 5 big chances, top of the list, and I don't think any of them's been taken.
The joys of being a Palace fan, eh?
Indeed. John, let's do a combined 11. I think this is going to be one of the most difficult ones.
Yeah, I'm very interested about this one. I was thinking about it earlier.
All right, John. So what we do a combined 11. In this combined 11, imagine in your eyes everyone's fit, everyone's available, but you have to have at least 3 players from each team. So you can't build a full Palace team. You need at least 3 Bournemouth players in there. Yep. So what we'll do is we'll start and say, what formation do you want? And then we'll go from goalkeeper forwards.
I think I would do a 4-2-3-1 in the Bournemouth style formation.
Okay, who would you want in goal?
Well, Henderson definitely would be the goalkeeper. Haven't really seen enough of Petrovic to say that he's going to be better than Henderson. Like I said, I think Petrovic is decent, but I think that Henderson's definitely impressed me more than Petrovic.
Mm-hmm. Left back.
Left back now.
It would be Mitchell from us.
Yeah, I know it would be Mitchell from you because I do think that Mitchell kind of was heard a fair bit from when he first broke through, and obviously he got his England call-ups, and then I think maybe because he just was consistent, the hype sort of died around him, because I'm sure Palace fans absolutely love him, but I think I barely hear Mitchell be mentioned in general podcasting and stuff really, or anything outside of in the general Premier League context. For me, I'd be putting Truffert there, but really I could easily be persuaded the other way after seeing him a good few games, because I'm not so wedded to the idea that, I don't think Mitchell is bad at all. I just think
this is your team.
Truffert, oh no, I'm just sort of going through my reasoning. I just think I've been very, very impressed with Truffert so far.
Mm-hmm. Right back.
Munoz. I mean, Bournemouth doesn't really have a great right back option at the moment, to be honest. But Munoz is just such a fun player to watch. He's how, if you could imagine a Kirkes Munoz are kind of opposite fullback wings would have been outrageous. 2 players that just have endless energy to just go up and down the wing. I'm a big fan of Munoz.
Let's go left centre back.
So left centre back, I'm going to put Senesi. He's been very, very important for us so far, and I think he's got his contract expires at the end of the season. We've been talking about getting him in a new one, but I have a feeling this is going to be another Jefferson Lerma, where we're going to where unfortunately we're just going to be like, please sign, and he's just going to be like, nah, I can get better money in a bigger club elsewhere. I think I saw rumors like a year or so ago of him, sort of his agent trying to put his name around to bigger clubs, and he's just got his first call up for Argentina in about 6 years in the last international break. So he apparently impressed. So I really would be surprised if he signs another couple of years for us, but we'll be gutting if he does leave on a free.
Right centre back.
I know he doesn't play there, but Gehi would be the other one. I mean, he's right-footed, so I'd expect him to be able to shift over. I mean, there's not much to say about Gehi that hasn't already been said. He's probably England's best centre-back at the moment. And I could easily see him slotting into either centre-back positions in a back four.
Let's go for the left defensive midfielder.
I'll go with Adam Wharton. I mean, he's going to take one of those two positions. He's the exact kind of profile that he's been so unlucky that he's been injured or just not picked over Anderson, because him and Anderson fill such similar roles. But he's got such a good talent to keep hold of the ball, play killer pass. He's got everything in his game, and it was a great pickup from Blackburn.
The other defensive midfielder to partner him,
Tyler Adams. I think really a player that people don't really remember very much. He is really just a destroyer, but he's really damn good at it. He's been vital for us since getting to full fitness.
Fair play. I assumed you was going to go for Alex Scott.
He's been good. Don't get me wrong.
10 this year, isn't he?
Okay. Yes, he does. But he does tend to play a bit deeper. I think he's got it in him to play as a bit more of a 10, but he's been much more successful this season playing in the double pivot with Adams. He's been doing very well, but he's coming into really good form. But he's not quite showing exactly what we thought we were going to get, but he's starting to show glimpses of it, which is really encouraging.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If we go for the number 10 central,
I think probably go Clivert. I think that's probably. I mean, really, that's his only real spot. Really, when he first came into the team, he was kind of maybe being used as a winger. He's a little bit lightweight, to be honest. He can't really do the wing job, but number 10 is the perfect spot for him. Just give him the ball 30 yards out, and he'll dummy one player and fire it in the top corner, and you just can't buy that from most players. So yeah, he's been his highlight reel is very impressive for Bournemouth.
I'm not going to ask you about left winger.
Don't think we really need to go too far on this one. I would say about Semenyo though is that what I was just looking at on Understat, and Mateta's got more XG than Semenyo this season, just by a tiny bit. Semenyo's running hot. Last season, he ran, even though he was very impressive, he ran quite cold. You know, he was underperforming in most of his aspects, and this season he's overperforming. So how consistent he can stay is how likely he is to leave at the end of the season. Because if he doesn't get a goal or assist for the next 5 games, all the hype fizzles out and people realize maybe he's not quite the big player that we thought he would be. But he has got everything in him to be a Champions League player, absolutely.
Yeah, let him just stay quiet just for tomorrow, please.
Well, I mean, he's the top transferred in pick for the FPL, which means he's guaranteed to not get a return.
I've had him in my FPL for the last couple of weeks. So
yeah, had him in from the start, so I was very pleased with that.
Let's go right wing now.
Ismail Assar was really liked him at Watford, and as much as it was not a cool thing for a Bournemouth fan to say that he liked a Watford player, because there's a weird rivalry that sort of has fizzled out after Watford stayed in the Championship for a while. But
really? Weirdly, that kind of happened with us as well.
Yeah, because we went up in the same season as Watford, and then when we stayed up for 5 seasons, they were staying up for 5 seasons. So we were in the same division as them, between divisions for 7 or 8 years. And the games just were really quite aggressive. There was plenty of moments where things got quite heated. The fan bases started getting quite toxic. Well, I say toxic. It was fan banter, but the rivalry just started growing. But then since Watford went down, I don't think most Bournemouth fans have thought too much about Watford for a while. But Sarr was a great pickup. I was surprised it took anyone that long to get him from Watford after they went down. But yeah, he's a fantastic.
Because Watford
player.
wanted 30 million for him in the Championship.
Yeah, they wanted loads of money, and I think he went to. We got him off Marseille.
Oh, was that it? He went to Marseille first half.
Yeah, he went to Marseille. He had a bit of a iffy season, and then we got him because Dougie Freeman had liked him for years, so we ended up getting him.
And I think at Marseille he was being played at right wing back. He wasn't actually played up front at all.
Right.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one.
Finally, the striker.
This is the most tricky point. I think the thing is, as much as I like Evanilson, the one thing that's missing from his game is more goals. He's an incredibly hard worker. I think if you were to give me my own team and say you've got a choice between Evanilson and Mateta, I'd go with Mateta. But it would be very, very close. And that is just because of his more recent history with a really good lot of goal scoring. He's obviously bigger, he's more physical, but Evanilson fits Iraiola's system better than Mateta does. I think he would do. But I think out of the two, I think Mateta's the goal scorer that you'd want.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
That is a good team. That is such a good team.
I know it's going to be. You're probably going to say your guy, but even though we don't normally do this, if you could have what manager to manage this team?
Oh, mate. Well, to be fair,
if you've built it in Iraiola's formation, let's say we put both our squads together and make a 3 at the back team with Glasner, and you've got maybe Senesi, Gay, Lacroix at the back with these wing backs.
Let's do that. Let's build one with Glasner's formation.
Let me do another.
My opinion, if you did that, I would get rid of Sarr and put in Lacroix. If you're doing it under a Glasner system,
I wouldn't keep Kluivert in Glasner's system. I think the number 10 is the only role that Kluivert can play. I just don't think he can work in another system. It isn't.
We still play a number 10. It's just a slightly wider.
I know you
version.
play 2 10s, but I think that the Kluivert has he has his great games and he has his he'll disappear in games. He works pretty hard, but he is quite weak in the tackle. I don't know. I think, he could definitely work as one of the dual 10s, I guess. But I do think that I'd probably have Sarr and Semenyo as the 2 10s over.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Over Semenyo and Kluivert.
How quick is Diakite?
I haven't really seen him at full pelt much. He's pretty quick. I don't think. I think he's pretty quick, but I mean, I don't really know exactly what his stats are for his speed.
Mm-hmm. Only asking because Lacroix is rapid, and when you got someone that rapid, and you're playing a mid block. It is very handy. Very, very handy.
Can I make 2 changes to this team though?
Go on,
yeah.
Switch Mitchell and Truffert.
Yeah, I think that's fair. If you're playing the back 3,
because it's a back 3, I wouldn't need a Tyler Adams. Switch that for Alex Scott.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So this will be a Glasner.
You could put Christie in instead of Scott. I do think Scott is the better player this season, but Christie would be the other option.
Because where's Scott's such a good dribbler. You've got that balance of dribbler and passer in that midfield.
Yeah,
and that's sort of what we've got with Kamada Wharton at the moment.
Yeah. And the thing is,
not even
we haven't
been
said
mentioned
Evan
here.
Olsen. We've switched Truffert. We've switched Tyler Adams. This time around, we added Lacroix. We've taken out Clive. The two squads are very good.
Yeah,
Like,
I think obviously if we'd said like in the last one, if we'd said that was an Iraola team, I would have had Evan Nilsson over Mateta. I was just as I was building my own, but for this one, you'd have Mateta instead of Evan Nilsson. I think for this one, because I do think need that. You need a little bit more about the hold-up play.
they are both very good teams, by the way.
Yeah. I remember coming on last time and doing this and being like, it was a really, I had that pretty balanced as well when I was on last year. I think it was last year. But
if you could pick one of these teams, which one would it be? Also, people in the chat, please put your thoughts in there as well. So obviously, this is a Iraola team, and then this would be a Oliver Glasner team.
I think I'd probably stick with the back four team, but they're both really good. I wouldn't be against having the back three either, but that's a really really strong 11 in both cases.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So obviously, I missed a bit where you spoke about tomorrow's game, John. Anyway, JC, how do you see it going from a Palace perspective?
I mean, to be fair, we're making chances, and I think that we have got players that have the quality to play through the press that Bournemouth have. I think that Adam Wharton is more than good enough to find that killer ball. I think that Daichi Kamada is probably just as capable of doing that. Maybe Adam Wharton could do that every time he tries, but Kamada's still got the ability to do something like that. And I think that the fact that we play three at the back and we play with quite high flying wing backs, it's not a very common thing to happen in the Premier League at the moment. So, Bournemouth might be a little bit out of touch with having to defend against a team that plays like that. Also, Glasgow's going to be feeling some sort of way after losing at Everton because we destroyed them respectfully and we just didn't take our chances. And I think that we are making the opportunities for our strikers and our forwards to score goals. We've just not been putting it in the net. I reckon that we will be able to get chances in this game. I reckon we'll still create a few chances in this game because of how we play and the system that we play. And to be fair, I don't want to. I'm not confident because every game we play against them is either a draw or a loss from recent history. But I do think that Glasner's able to switch things up on the fly as well if it's not working. Like if, for example, if we're trying to play out from the back and they're pressing us, we're quite happy to just go long, play the channels, and pass around the back enough so that they all come forwards to leave some space in behind for that one killer ball in behind to Sarr, who's I think he's got the pace to run away from anyone in this Premier League at the moment. So in my predictions, I've gone with a draw because that wouldn't surprise me at all. I said 1-1. I don't think you can look over the quality of Semenyo because even if you say, just mark him out of the game, you can't. He's like Wilfried Zaha back in the day. You might put 3 people on him, he'll still find a way. And I think Semenyo is sort of that player for Bournemouth at the moment.
I think that what, JC, I was gonna go 1-1 as well. So I don't know. The 2 games last season, the first 0-0 at Boxing Day, I thought we should have lost that. I thought we were very lucky to get a point out of that. And then the second one, I thought Bournemouth, it was end of the season. I think Bournemouth were knackered personally. And I think for some reason, I recall us being knackered as well, but I can't remember why. Maybe we played like 3 games in a week or something like that.
Because I think we just had Newcastle.
Yeah.
We drew with Bournemouth, then had Arsenal midweek, and then
Yes.
the FA Cup semi-final.
Yes, that was it. So it was a bit of that weird time where it's like, you don't want it. No one wants to get injured, sort of thing. I think it's going to be a good game because, like, I think the way we kind of pass out, I think we will be able to bypass a press sometimes. It's whether we can take any opportunities. But I think Bournemouth have been very good this season. I think Iro is a very good coach. It's going to be a good game. I'm still going to stick one. I'm going to stick 1-1.
Yeah, for me, looking at the game, I think hearing that obviously you do the press, we're going to need to utilize Mitchell and Munoz a lot. Because if Semenyo does press, or Clivett does press, or Tavernier does press, the gap's going to be more so with the fullbacks, because I'm sure that the fullbacks will be occupied with Sarr and Pino. So we know that Munoz is going to bomb forward. And to be fair to Semenyo, his defensive work rate both ways is outrageous. So it sounds mad, but I think Mitchell might be the key for this one. And he has improved in the attacking third. And the only reason I say that is because I think Pino, if John was right in saying that their right back hasn't been great, I think Pino will have a decent go at him. But if Mitchell is that spare man, he's going to need to get the ball in quick. Like, he has to be very, very effective.
Yeah. Hopefully he shoots with his right foot.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll be very honest with you. I was so annoyed about the Everton game because I already had it in my mind. And no game is what do they call it? Free hit. But this was the first, in my head, this was going to be the first stumbling block. Because as much as we're not good from Everton, I thought we were playing so well, we could have at least got a draw. We didn't. And now I think there's going to be fire in their bellies. I think we nicked this 2-1. I'm not saying that with the greatest of confidence, by the way. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Palace. And John, yourself?
Yeah. It's. I think generally, if I'm going to go into this game, particularly with Palace, admittedly Palace's run coming to an end, but knowing how good Palace are, and certainly for us, I feel like our performances have been good, but we have been bailed out a little bit by Semenyo in a few games. We don't get the win we did against Fulham without Semenyo. We lost 4-2, but we wouldn't have almost got a point out of that game if not for Semenyo. He's so heavily involved in so many games, with really Tottenham being one of the only games at the moment he's not scored in, and we did win that 1-0 quite rightly. Normally I'd be the realist and say 1-1. However, two things is that, one, we have a weirdly good record in the last couple of seasons against Palace. Though one of the games that sticks in my mind for quite some time was the 5-3 game at the end of the 2016-17, I want to say. Lerma fired in an absolute rocket.
He tried to kill Zaha as well when on our last goal.
Oh,
I don't remember
that
one as much. But it's two things. Is that firstly, we have, certainly only in like the last 3 seasons, but we've got a decently good record against Palace. As was pointed out by a commenter, haven't scored against us under Glasner yet. And then lastly, if we win this game, Bournemouth come 5 o'clock, Bournemouth are top of the table if we win this game, which is mad. Which is absolutely mad. So given all that, I have to go in with this with full faith that we're gonna nick this 2-1. And I do think that there's a decent chance that Palace score, so I am going to go with a 2-1. But these are both. I think that it's interesting because Bournemouth attack is not as good as it was last season. But then you add Semenyo into it, Semenyo's form. Bournemouth's defence is actually, despite conceding more than Palace on expected goals, Bournemouth is a really strong defence, and Palace is not as strong as the real record would suggest by the expected measure. But Palace are really, really threatening going forward. So it's got a lot that could happen, but there's also a decent chance that both these teams completely cancel each other out. And if that was to happen, the one thing that I could, put a decent amount of money behind is Semenyo pulling something out of nowhere. And that is the one thing that could make the difference in this game, which is not what I want Bournemouth to continue to rely on, because that's going to dry up eventually. But right now, if he's in this kind of form, it's worth backing him.
We have to somehow keep him quiet, and I don't know how we do it.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at his first goal against Fulham, and he had two men on him, and he went right to the byline and then pulled back, saw no option, and put it through the keeper's legs. And it is that accuracy that has really changed this season. That he is actually finishing well, because last season, if it wasn't a full power shot, he didn't know how to put it anywhere. It was just like, I've got a chance to shoot, I'm going to blast this as hard as I can. And over the summer, he has massively worked on his finishing. There's a weird stat that's gone around that like Semenyo's had like 9 shots this season or something, and he scored 6 goals. But that's FBref, I think you get that from. But then at different sites, it's like he's taken 2.4 shots a game. So I don't think he's taken only 9 shots, particularly as on FBref, one of those goals he scored was against Brighton, and they don't have him down as having a shot in that game, even though he scored a penalty. So you need to. It's difficult to find accurate stats sometimes. He's not been quite as ridiculous, but if he has a shot on target, there's a very good chance he's going to score. So it's very difficult to keep him truly quiet. But the one thing I will say in terms of against Bournemouth a little bit is that David Brooks has been quite an unsung star for us, and him being out is pretty massive, I would say, because Adley has looked meh when coming in. Gannon Doak is young, and I think Mitchell and Gehi would be able to shut him down pretty easily. And then not sure who else really would go on the right, possibly Tavernier, but he's more of a passer. So I don't know. It's not having Brooks could be just as bad defensively as it is offensively with the work he does. But given that everyone else is fit, there's a lot of continuity.
Right. Just before we wrap up, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you have Forest afterwards?
Yes, we do.
Right, wish you would have
them.
I hope so. I'm just hoping that they get a half decent result against Chelsea. They get a point, and then it's like, okay, maybe there's something going on here, and then we play them
so
at
they
home
don't sack
next week,
no,
and they don't sack Ange.
If they sack Ange now, it might be Sean Dyche, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but new manager bounce and Dyche will get them to sit back into a deep block, and they'll play for a 0-0. So no, we want Ange to stay in. Batter him 4-0 and he gets sacked before they play Man United or whoever they got next.
I think the craziest thing that I've seen lately is that apparently Graham Potter's going to be the new Sweden manager. That'll be quite funny, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, they didn't qualify.
He's going back.
No, they didn't. No. Yeah, because he did it. He did a bit in Sweden.
Yeah,
that'll be funny if he's the manager of Isak.
Yes, Isak and Gyökeres.
I'm not playing.
And Alanga.
John, please shout out your channel and the amazing work that you're doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had the little Twitter handle down below. It's Cherry's Red Army. We're mostly on YouTube, but we are on Twitter and Instagram as well. We've had a hiatus over the last over previous season, and so, but we're back and producing pretty much just a video a week. We're not trying to overdo things, but we'll be going. Summing up the previous match and then previewing the next one. And we're getting a fair few different voices on to get some additional opinions on Bournemouth, because there's the main Bournemouth channel is Back of the Net, but we're happy to be the second opinion. So yeah, just for more Bournemouth chat, do check us out.
No, absolutely. No, I appreciate your time as well. All the best
Sure.
tomorrow.
Yep, same to
cheers.
you, except for the result, but especially after the season. And best of luck in Europe as well. I hope you absolutely
Thank
smash
you.
it in
Appreciate
Europe.
that.
Thank you. And that's it. Obviously, tomorrow we're at the game, so fan cams tomorrow. Sunday we'll do the match reaction, and then we've got another busy week. The only plus side for me is half time.
Nice.
So next week, obviously, we'll be looking at Lanarka tactical. That will be next week.
Yeah, I'm going to double check if I can find some matches. But yeah, hopefully.
What's it? We'll double check if there's a watch along. I don't know if there will be because I think all of us will be at the game. And stuff.
I think tactical next week will be Monday. It won't be Tuesday.
It might be Monday because I might go to watch the under-21s play Stevenage. Yeah, but I might decide against that. So I'll decide tomorrow, and then I'll think about it.
Is that a VBS?
No, it's at Stevenage.
That's it.
I just wanted to tick off another ground. That's legit.
That is fair enough. So yeah, quite a lot happening next week. Yeah, Prem football's back. I'll be sitting in my chair, very nervous tomorrow because it's not going to be an easy game. But hopefully, we can get 3 points, or at the very least, don't lose. Like, share, subscribe, everyone, and as always, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.
Eagles.